Yeah, sorry I'm late, bro, but I just don't give a fuck.
Okay, we're going hard and fast. We're going to get straight into this with a bit of Kiwis. Dog, the Kiwis didn't beat Scotland.
No, they
I
didn't.
thought they were going to beat Scotland.
You know, someone's got to slip up against the Scots, and unfortunately it was the Kiwis. I did think, maybe Australia, maybe England. Definitely unlikely the Kiwis, but unfortunately it was the Kiwis who slipped up against Scotland.
Yeah, on the basis of those 3 games the Kiwis have played so far, I'm not sure it was that unlikely given that they don't seem to be able to score that many points.
Yeah, they are struggling, which sets up, obviously Australia did beat England. Thank the Lord Jar for that one, because that would have been tricky. But how are you feeling about the Kiwis versus the Kangaroos in the Four Nations final?
In a word, unconfident.
Unconfident. I'm a bit more optimistic.
Just made it this far. I'm just happy they got to the final. Why are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic because I think the Kiwis can deliver the best performance of the Four Nations when it matters. There are a few little asterisks that go with that. Full pack's got to perform. Outside backs need to make some meters, like Blake Ferguson, like Valentine Holmes, and then the halves obviously have to do a good job. My boy Sean Johnson's been copping a few.
Just a couple cheeky ones.
Yeah, it's been something I've touched on all season long with the Warriors.
Yes.
Because I did believe, Sean Johnson's a runner of the footy. That's what he does best, and I wouldn't mind seeing him play wider. The problem is the Kiwis, like the Warriors, like many other rugby league teams, play with a left-sided half and a right-sided half. So it doesn't matter who's wearing 6 or 7 because Thomas Luluai plays on the left, Sean Johnson plays on the right.
Right. So you almost need Luluai to come in or get his hands on that ball so that Johnson can slide over and be a bit more of a runner that way. And do you see that happening? Because I don't see that happening. And I also haven't seen the meters from the outside backs. I haven't seen the forward pack doing what they're supposed to do yet. They're just saving it for this one game?
Oh, you'd have to hope so. But there is a reason why so many teams play with the left side and a right sided half because it makes life a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
But what happened against England? Thomas Luluai left the field. Sean Johnson was left to roam either side of the field, either side of the ruck, and he was excellent. So just keep an eye on that because it's the same problem the Warriors had as well.
17 points against England, 8 points against Australia, 18 against Scotland. How many are we going to need to win the final against Oz?
Over 16.
Over 16?
Because the Kangaroos have Jonathan Thurston, they have Greg Inglis, they have Cooper Cronk, they have Cameron Smith. They've got a pretty beastly forward pack. They've got Blake Ferguson. They've got everyone.
Well, that leads me towards thinking over 30. Over 35. I don't know. What's next?
We have the White Ferns wildcard.
Yes.
And the White Ferns have been absolutely trucking along very nicely against Pakistan. They've taken a 3-0 series lead. My little point here, wildcard, is that first 2 ODIs didn't mean anything besides a few, feel-good factor in the series because the last 3 ODIs count towards the ICC Women's Championship.
Righto.
Which is kind of why we saw 16-year-old Amelia Kerr. She played in the first 2 ODIs, but not in the third. Yeah, so they did win the third ODI, which gave them the series win and sets them up very nicely for that ICC Women's Championship where they are currently third. The top 4 teams qualified directly for the World Cup. That's the context.
Right, the big prize.
It is the big prize.
Yeah, that's a little bit weird then that the first couple aren't really for they're almost like friendly matches. But hey, they did pretty damn well. Games 2 and 3, Amy Satterthwaite, we've talked about her a couple of times before, done just fantastic things. Another couple hundreds, both undefeated. 137 not out in, I believe, the second game. The 4th highest ODI score in history by a New Zealand woman.
Wooshka.
Number 1 is Susie Bates, 168 back in 2009.
And it is important to remember that Amy Satterthwaite, as I've said in previous weeks, did score the most runs and was the best bowler against South Africa. And here she is going back-to-back with centuries, borderline amazing.
So we've got to assume 3-0 up in the series. They've got a good chance of getting those points, getting through to that World Cup. How close are they we're speaking way down the track here, but how close are they towards competing for and / winning that World Cup?
I think this White Ferns team has a very, very good chance of winning the World Cup because
that's what I want to hear, son.
They've got a great team now. Susie Bates, Sophie Devine, Amy Satterthwaite, Leah Tahuhu, Rachel Priest. They've got plenty of pieces to the puzzle, but then you've also got a 16-year-old Amelia Kerr coming in to put pressure on the likes of Morna Nielsen, Erin Birmingham. You've got Lee Kasperick isn't playing. She's excellent as well. So, and then you've got youngsters, Hannah Rowe, Tamsin Newton. There's so much. There's OGs, veterans. There's youngsters coming through. There's just quality all throughout this White Ferns squad. Like the group is just quality. So probably one of the low-key Kiwi sports teams to keep an eye on in the next 12 months.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Where do the Phoenix rank on that list?
I've got them quite high, actually.
So do I at the moment.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a couple of weeks will do, eh?
Here we were a few weeks ago just having a little cry about them, but 2-0 win over the Central Coast Mariners in Canberra. And major takeaway for me was the depth and the preparation shown by Ernie Merritt to prepare for this all-whites fixture, which had a big influence on the Wellington Phoenix because Mr. Lowry came in at centre back. You had Gui Finkler and Rolly Bonifacio in the midfield instead of Michael McGlinchey. Hamish Watson came in, the most versatile player in the A-League. Matthew Redenton slotted in at left back. Like, it was all, everything about it just made sense. They played well. They got the 2-0 win. Happy days.
Yeah, mate, I love that. I mean, there's almost two sides to this coin, right? The first one is that they've beaten Newcastle and Central Coast, probably the two worst teams in the A-League. But at the same time, they put them away, and that's what you got to do. You got to put them away. Roy Krishna playing absolutely excellent, and it almost makes you wonder, like missing 6 all-whites here in the win over Central Coast. It helped that game was in Canberra as well, so kind of neutral ground. Missing 6 all-whites, it's almost like you almost didn't notice too much. Aside from Durante, I mean, even Luis Italiano had a pretty solid game, you know. And goal made a couple of nice saves. Didn't have too much to do because Central Coast just aren't very good. But yeah, obviously we could have used Durante. But aside from that, you almost didn't notice the difference. I almost wonder that the big problem is going to be when Fiji have their international whatchamacallit, and we have to play against and we lose Roy Krishna.
Well, that's the good thing is that you can play with Costa and Hamish Watson.
Yeah, Watto was good, eh? Watto was good. Considering, because he was bad in the first game. He obviously didn't, probably not a handy match fit, probably playing in a role that wasn't really suited to him. I think he worked better this time, even though it's still sort of that role where you're looking to run in behind and stuff. It was better suited to him because they played closer together, the strikers. So he was able to feed off of Krishna, and you saw that with the two. They set up each other for the 2 goals.
I'm not as high on Watson as you are.
I'm not high on him. But as a reserve striker, I think the fact that he showed he could do a job here is promising.
Because he still takes 5 seconds to get a shot off.
Oh, he's not starting ahead of Costa, but yeah.
Jacob Trapp, he is sublime.
He's getting better every game. Fewer weird gunning forward down the line and trying to outskill opposite wingers and stuff like that. The other thing that I want to talk about with this is that you sort of start off with, they called it a 4-3-3, but it was really a 4-4-2 with a diamond midfield, Finkler up the top, Leah at the back. In the last 2 weeks, they've sort of changed that, and they've kept the diamond in the midfield, but they've moved around so it's like a box. You're almost like 4-2-2, and then your 2 strikers. And I think that's really worked because it means you've got everyone working in pairs. You've got the strikers working in pairs, you've got Rodriguez and Leah working in pairs, you've got the attacking midfielders, which work so well against Central Coast, Rowley and Finkler, Professor Fink working in pairs there. It's good, man. I like that. I think that's a handy way. Not a shape, not a formation you too often see in footy, but I think it's working.
Ernie Merritt cutting shapes on the football field.
That's Ernie. That's our Ernie. Let's do some Blackcaps. So they're playing against Pakistan at the end of the week. Test match series. We figured the best way to do this would we just each drop a couple of things to watch out for in this test series. Do you want to start here?
I would love to start because Pakistan have a very good batting lineup, and I suspect they will line up with Sami Aslam. He's a youngster. opening the innings. You've got Azhar Ali coming at number, also likely to open it. Asad Shafiq, probably the most technically proficient Pakistani batsman, coming at number 3. Then you got the veterans Yunus Khan, Misbah Ul Haq, and Ahmed Shahzad. What do all those lads have in common? They average over 40 in Test cricket. So it's going to be a fairly difficult proposition for the Blackcaps bowlers to cause some damage.
Right. Well, following on from that, I know a lot of people would be trending towards the who's going to open with Latham, who's going to bat number 5 angle, how well are they going to go? I'm more interested in an established dude who's been there for quite a while, and Ross Taylor. Ross Taylor, I think it's safe to say his form could use a bit of a boost in this series. We've seen him have some huge home summers before, some enormous ones. That time the Windies in India, I think it was, came and he just turned up over and over. He last year, he had that famous 290 in Perth against Australia. That kind of clouded what was otherwise a little bit of a down year for him if you take that one innings out. And since Zimbabwe, where in Zimbabwe he was immaculate, he scored 364 runs without being dismissed at all in the series. But since then, tours to South Africa, tours to India, he scored 2 not out, 1, 0, 0, 17, 36, 4, 0, and 32. And you'd almost say that 36 and 32 were 2 of his worst innings of that lot as well. He was a little bit streaky. He could use a big summer.
What am I seeing the old
that
from old Roscoe? I also have, following on from the strong Pakistani batting lineup, Tim Southee and Trent Boult. 2 lads who basically built the good vibes hut around the Blackcaps and just saw the Kiwi public get on board because we had Tim Southee, we had Trent Boult swinging the ball, borderline unplayable, and you just don't get that feeling anymore.
No.
And now is the opportunity, a home test series against Pakistan, subcontinent batsmen who usually deal in dry decks of the UAE. How are they going to feel against the swinging ball? But in turn, how is Tim Southee and Trent Boult going to deal with the pressure of having to lead a Blackcaps seam attack and lead a Blackcaps team that is struggling? Is Trent Boult going to be bowling 135 or is he going to be bowling 142? Is Tim Southee going to be, beating the outside edge or is he going to be getting the outside edge? Those are the issues, and that's probably what's going to decide the series for me.
Yeah, because my final point is something that I don't think is going to decide the series anyway, because I don't even know that it's a competition, but I am interested in the comparative duel between Pakistan's number 1 spinner, Mr. Yasir Shah, arguably the best in the world if you discount Mr. Ashwin, and whoever the hell the New Zealanders are going to pick to bowl some spin. Mitch Santner out injured for the first test, probably leaning towards Todd Astle because he offers a bit with the bat as well. Nah.
Yeah, nah. There's no competition.
There's no competition at all, but I'm interested in seeing how close they can keep it. It's like when you play the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, how much you're going to get thrashed by. Well, we'll find out.
Good luck, Todd. We are wriggling towards the Razzle Dazzle segment wildcard, and I'm going to kick it off with the Mac, Conor McGregor.
Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac. Well, he's never gone anywhere because he was holding a belt and now he's holding another belt. He is the first UFC champion to hold 2 belts at the same time, the featherweight belt and the lightweight belt. Wildcard, can you top that?
I don't know. I think I can run it pretty close though, because if we're talking about running, Before I watched one of the best NFL games I've seen of the season, one of the best I can remember, Dallas Cowboys against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a game with 7 different lead changes, including 3 after the 2-minute warning. Great game. Everyone's talking about Dak Prescott versus Tony Romo for the quarterback thing for the Cowboys, who just secretly won 8 games in a row. Keep that one close. Everyone's talking about the quarterback duel, but I'm more interested in my man Zeke Elliott. 114 rush yards in that game with 2 scores, plus an 85-yard receiving TD, 1,005 rush yards for the season in just 9 games. Only Eric Dickerson and Adrian Peterson, you might have heard of those 2 guys, have had more through their first 9 games in the NFL. I know his offensive line is unbelievable and deserve a lot of credit, but so is Zeke. Zeke's pretty outstanding himself. Ezekiel Elliott, mate. Remember the name.
Who's this Dak fella?
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterback. He's doing some good things. He's holding out my boy Tony Romo, which is unexpected, safe to say, for the start of the season. But, mate, you can't argue with the production.
And his name's actually Dak.
His name is, short for Dakota. It'd be a little more coincidental if he played in California, wouldn't it?
It would indeed. I actually thought he was named after Jerry Dactyl, but who knows?
You never know. His parents might have just been sneaking a sly one by it.
Well, Cut, if I may, I'd just like to take a reading for our viewers from the Bible, the Nishkesh Bible. This is coming chapter Nas, song One Love, from the album Illmatic. Shorty's laugh was cold-blooded as he spoke so foul. Only 12, trying to tell me that he liked my style. And then I rose, wiping blunt ash from my clothes. Then I froze, only to blow the herb smoke out my nose. And told my little man, I'm ghost, I'm bros. Left some jewels in his skull that he can sell if he chose. Words of wisdom from Nas, try to rise above. Keep an eye out for Jake, shorty wop, one love.
Lovely. And now we hit the lounge. Where shall we start? What have you been reading this week, Doc?
What have I been reading? There was an excerpt from Chris Rogers, the former Australian batsman, an excerpt from his book in which he ran through how he came to play in that Ashes series in England. And it was very interesting to get the insight on the mental preparation for coming into the Australian Test team for that Ashes series. He was a bit scared, and then talking to the psychologist, not shitting his pants, but just scared of failure and all that sort of stuff. And then on top of that, dealing with so Mickey Arthur selected him, and then he got fired, so the uncertainty around his position.
Right.
Darren Lehman comes in and just had a few interesting anecdotes about the Australian cricketing team culture.
Nice.
Yourself?
That team culture, probably a couple more interesting anecdotes coming out at the moment. Recent events and such. Myself, I've been reading Ernest Hemingway's Fiesta, The Sun Also Rises. And I decided to single this one out because I had myself a nice little scene Sunday night. Just been working out, had a shower, came out, still looking to cool down, so I was sitting there reading my book out on the deck with my shirt unbuttoned, and I had a glass of something nice, bit of Southern Comfort in my left hand, had my Hemingway in my right hand. I just thought it was a nice picturesque scene that Mr. Hemingway himself would have quite approved of.
I'm sure he would have.
That one's for you, Ernest.
Shout out to Ernest. I have also been watching Conor McGregor press conferences.
Yeah, they're a good one to watch.
Just on repeat. Like, the dude is...
Reruns.
Yeah, just the dude's a genius, and everything he does is sensational in the ring, in the octagon, I should say, outside the octagon. I quite like Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he gets it done, doesn't he? I like to watch a good film now and then, but I find that I'm not too interested in watching the endless sequels, prequels, remakes, and superhero movies, which is about all you see advertised these days. That's all about gets run on the telly. But so I'd like to reach back now and then, and I just pluck out random movies from the past that I find a little more creatively interesting. I watched this one on the weekend called Wait Until Dark, which starred Audrey Hepburn and Alan Arkin. It popped up on one of those Sky movie channels, I can't remember which one. But Audrey Hepburn plays a blind lady who accidentally finds herself in possession of this little China doll thing, which happens to have a large quantity of smuggled heroin within it, and a bunch of bad guys try to steal it back off her by playing all these tricks, utilizing the fact that she's blind, and they're sort of walking around her house and she doesn't know is there someone there, and then they start pretending to be different characters and playing all these tricks. It's a sneaky little movie. I quite enjoyed it. Pretty smart too. Good fun.
Crazy.
Yeah, mate, it was a little bit insane.
I have been listening to a new EP from Hasbeats.
Nice.
Otahu's Finest. He released a 5-song EP called the E5 EP, basically influenced by his time in London.
Right.
And it's all just instrumentals and music and noise, and it's in a weird way, but in an obvious way, it does take you to London and the East End, and just the chaos and the noises and the sounds. It just gives you that feeling that you're there in the city, and that's what I love from music, is that it transports you somewhere else.
Yeah, Yeah, you do. The good stuff will do that for you, won't it?
I just need to escape.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad time to feel like you need to escape either. It's not been a good week for old legendary songwriters. Leonard Cohen passed away, and then Leon Russell followed him a couple of days later. But Leonard got in there first, sorry Leon, so I've got to say I've been listening to a couple of Leonard Cohen records. Quite enjoy the fella had a poetic soul, you know what I mean? Like he had a way with words that few other people have ever really come close to. There's nothing quite like it, you know? Nothing quite like it.
I would suggest that Conor McGregor does have a poetic soul and a way with words.
A different kind. I don't know that he would write Bird on a Wire, but he could definitely script a couple of things.
Here's an idea for you, Wildcard. I reckon Conor McGregor, Stephen Adams, Lydia Ko, and Kendrick Lamar are our leaders in life, in society and culture.
I wouldn't go so far as leaders. I would go, I don't know, they're carrying the torch, I'll say. They're carrying a certain generational torch. I don't know about leaders because we don't really need leaders. Leaders make people follow. We don't follow. We are inspired.
We're inspired. Yeah, I like that. So shout out to them.